Welcome back to another SPR Sports News podcast. This last weekend, we had the NFC and AFC Championship games. We had the first UFC card of 2026, and a 6-week break is finally over. And we still have to go over what's happening this week in UFC. UFC 325 in Australia. Volkanovski versus Diego Lopes 2. Incredible fight. Maybe not the fight people wanted, but still incredible fight. It's going to be violent, and that's exactly what we got in 324 also. Plus a little bit of college football. Didn't think I was going to be talking about college football again for a couple months, but guess what? News popped up this week, so I'm going to talk about it. All coming up. First, I'm going to start with the quick news of college football, go over it, and we're going to get right into the NFL. So, we have... Oh, what just happened? Okay. We have the College Football Committee came out with the new rules for the college football playoffs next year. And that is that no more Division V schools will automatically get in. It will be the four major conferences, the winner of each of the four major conferences, which is the SEC, the Big Ten, the ACC, and the Big 12. The winner of that conference will end up automatically getting a spot. It does not mean top 4 spot. It just means from 1 to 12. They could still be the 12 seed. The ACC this year would have probably been near the 12 seed, if not the 12 seed this year. Because if I'm correct, it was Duke or Virginia was that ACC championship game. And I believe Duke ended up winning. So instead of Miami getting in, it would have been Duke. Weird situation. Still not 100% on board with it, but I will take that over having JMU and Tulane in the college football playoffs where they did not deserve to be. So, baby steps, it's working. The next stipulation is where a lot of people are heated. If Notre Dame finishes in the top 12, no matter what, they are in. Not any other team that's a independent, just Notre Dame. The reason behind it is when you look at all the other bowl games, the ratings for bowl games that weren't in the college football playoffs were the lowest they have been in 20 years. The reason being, first, there's more college football playoff games. Second, the bowl games where you had Notre Dame pull out, basically saying we got robbed. And when they pulled out, you had Auburn pull out. You had quite a few other teams. I think Kansas State pulled out. Quite a few teams ended up pulling out. They all got fined other than Notre Dame. And people were like, oh, why is Notre Dame getting the royal treatment? Because Notre Dame puts asses in seats and Notre Dame puts eyes on the televisions. Unfortunately, there's an old saying, money talks. And Notre Dame is money. They are. Simple as that. So that's really the big thing there. My opinion as a Notre Dame fan, cool. I believe it should be 1 through 12. Whoever is rated should be in. And I think that a maximum of 4 teams per conference could get in. Because somehow the bias towards SEC is insane. And SEC only won 2 playoff games this year. And one of them was against each other. Georgia versus Ole Miss, and Ole Miss beat Georgia. The other game in the college football playoffs was Ole Miss versus a Division V school. So, other than that, there's one other bowl game that was won by an SEC team, and that was Texas versus Michigan. Other than that, the SEC fucking blowed this year. And to be honest, if you look at how the recruiting class is going, it's going in the same direction. The Big Ten's just getting better. The ACC is actually getting more recruits going that way. I saw that Clemson picked up a 5-star recruit, a quarterback. I've been seeing that quite a few of these ACC teams. Miami's going to obviously have a great recruiting class now that they just made it. Notre Dame's had the best recruiting class they've had since I've been born. They just had this last right now. So all this negative publicity is actually working in Notre Dame's favor, because this might be the most loaded team you're going to see Notre Dame have. SEC's losing out on a lot of players. A lot of players are switching out. And I will have to say that the bias will have to stop. The NIL has shifted that away, and eventually we'll talk more about it when season gets closer or next big news pops up, that I'm going to be very critical of the SEC next year. The ratings can be the ratings, but until they prove it, since the NIL, they've been shit. The SEC has proven that they were not willing to pay like the Big Ten is. And guess what? It's not working in their favor. All right. Now we're going to get to the NFL. We had two games, the AFC and NFC Championship game. We had the Patriots going to the Broncos. The final score was 10-7. You had a 4th and 1 in the first half. That was that the Broncos went for instead of taking like a 40-yard field goal before the weather got too bad. And that probably cost them the 10-10 game. And there was 4 missed kicks total, 2 on each team. The second half, there was no chance to make a kick. The weather was it was too bad. The weather was horrible. And unfortunately, it did make the game slower. People be like, oh, that's good old-fashioned football. I'm like, I mean, you have an MVP caliber quarterback in Drake Maye that's overthrowing a drag route and throwing the ball at his running back's feet. And the reason is because it's the weather. It's like, I'm all for good weather games, but at some point, it's like it's a little too much. I do think if the weather was better, the Patriots would have won by 10 or 14 points. If you look at that game, it felt like the Patriots, that fourth quarter, they basically said, we're just going to run the ball, run the clock out, 3 and out, and punt it to you. Because we don't believe you can move the ball in this weather with Stidham as your quarterback. And we'll guess run every play. And that's what they did, and the Patriots won the game. Patriots got their 1 touchdown because of a turnover by Denver and put them 15 yards from a touchdown. They got 15 yards. I feel bad for Denver's defense. I do believe they were the better team other than missing their quarterback. Obviously, Stidham versus Drake Maye, that's not a comparison whatsoever. Drake Maye is MVP or runner-up either way. Unbelievable year for him. Not a great postseason so far for him, but at the same point, he's had to go against some great defenses. The Chargers defense is pretty damn good. Texans defense is insane. And then the Broncos defense is extremely good, and he had to deal with the weather. Unfortunately, he's going to be going against, I'll be going over the game in a minute, but he's going against the Seattle Seahawks defense next. So it does not get easier. Just saying. You can make some deep pass plays against Seattle Seahawks, but they're very good at controlling the line of scrimmage, running the run game, and controlling the short routes. You got to get chunk plays against Seattle because you're not going to get a 12-play drive on them. Just doesn't happen. So New England did what they needed to do. They definitely could have won by more if Bo Nix was there. Obviously, I do believe the Denver Broncos would be going to the Super Bowl right now. But ifs or ifs, that's it. Congratulations, New England, making the Super Bowl number 12, going for win number 7, and it's a rematch of the 2014 Super Bowl. And yeah, we'll see how this goes. And that's really all for the AFC Championship game because honestly, there wasn't much to it. There really isn't. It was a lot of punts, a lot of 3 and outs, 1 turnover by the Broncos, and it cost them 7. The Broncos looked good in the first quarter. I will say that first quarter, Broncos looked sharp. It looked like the Broncos could have possibly put up another score, and they tried to go for a field. They tried to go for it a 4th and 1 in the second quarter and didn't work for them. Instead of just kicking the field goal and getting 10 right there, and they would have been up 10-0. Then the momentum changed. So, good job, Patriots. They legitimately, I know that their schedule is ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. I know. But at the same point, you can only play the teams that are put in front of you. I am the first person that will love to hate on Boston teams. I'm a New York guy. I will do anything to just shit on them. But in all seriousness, like, they are beating the teams put in front of them. That's not their fault. It's like, oh, but this team, they got a cupcake way to the Super Bowl. So did the Eagles last year. The Eagles had the same thing, legitimately. And if you look at, like, how about the 2024 Celtics? They had the same thing. Like, it happens all the time. You have to have luck to make it to a Super Bowl. It's not just skill. The last time I can tell you the two best teams played each other, no matter what, in a Super Bowl was back when the Saints played the Colts in the Super Bowl. Colts started off 14-0. The Saints started 13-0. Both of them clinched their conference, so they started pulling their guys in the first half in games 14 and 15. That's how quick they were pulling guys. Both teams could have gone undefeated to the Super Bowl, and it could have been 18-0 versus 18-0. That's how good those two teams were. And then the Saints ended up winning that Super Bowl. They actually won it pretty easily. It was close in the first half, and then the second half, Saints ran away with it. And it was great because that was right after Katrina hit New Orleans, so it was like they really needed that. New Orleans really needed. If there was a time for a place to need a championship, that was it. So good for them. But honestly, like, maybe you could say Broncos versus Seattle, but then Broncos got really hurt back when they didn't have the best offensive wide receiver when Peyton Manning had the career crazy year. Thing is, they lost their best wide receiver and Von Miller. Demaryius Thomas, rest in peace, man. And Von Miller both didn't make the Super Bowl. So it's like this time, both teams are really healthy. Seattle Seahawks and New England Patriots are really healthy. Do I still think the Jaguars were the best team in AFC? Yes, I still do. I really do think the Jaguars played the Patriots, they would have won. But once again, if they could have beat the Bills, if Josh Allen didn't have to go nuts one game and then suck ass the next game, it is what it is. So New England did what they needed to do. Congratulations, New England. I personally like Mike Vrabel, and I like Drake Maye a lot. I just wish they were wearing a different uniform and not on the fucking Patriots. That's my opinion. Put them on the Texans. Put them on fucking Tennessee Titans. I don't care. Get them off the goddamn Patriots. I've always liked both of them. But now on to the NFC Championship game. The best rivalry this year in football, part 3. Some will say it was the Bears and Packers. Both also incredible, all 3 games. But the first game of this series was 1919. Second game of the series was 38-37. And then this game was actually the furthest distance between points. Instead of being 1, it was 31-27. But this game was good. It was good. Seattle had the lead most of the game. There was a point where Rams did come back, get the lead, but then Seahawks took the lead again, and then Rams came downfield. And incredible game, very fun. Some people are saying, oh, Rams got screwed on penalties. There's penalties both sides that weren't called. It's a conference championship games. I will preach this. If you take away all situational stuff and you look at a play and take off the names on the jerseys, everything, if you look at a play and it's a foul and should be a flag, it should be a flag. No matter what. Same thing in sports and in basketball. Same thing in hockey. Same thing in baseball. Take away everything. If that should be called, call it. If it shouldn't be called, don't call it. We got it. That's where the issue is like, all right, they didn't throw flags a lot in this game, I will say. And one quarter being the fourth quarter, there were flags that should have been called against Seattle that didn't. But quarters 1 and 2, there's quite a few times pass interference should have been called against the Rams, and it didn't get called. So, regardless, it was a very Good game. I will say that Sam Darnold and Matthew Stafford both went nuts. No turnovers, 700, almost 700 yards combined, both of them with 3 touchdown passes. You two played fantastic football, and it sucks that one of you had to lose. It really does, but I do believe the better team won. Seattle Seahawks have been on a run to where they have won 9 straight, including the Rams twice now, the Panthers, the 49ers again. I mean, it's insane. They've played postseason teams consistently, even before the season was over. That is 5 straight wins over teams that made the playoffs, 4 over teams that had 12 or more wins. Wow. I mean, Seattle's been playing tough, hard. Like, see, this is the difference. Like, Patriots, they've had this cupcake schedule, but they're beating the teams that are put in front of them. They really are. Before the postseason, they only beat one team with a positive record, and that was the Bills the first time. That's the only win they had with a team above 500 before the postseason. Then the postseason happened, and it's all above 500 teams, other than like Carolina, for example. That was the only team that wasn't above, but that Seattle ended up. No, the Rams ended up beating them in the postseason. So Seattle, on the other hand, has been playing studs constantly the entire time. Absolute goons. I will go over next week more about the Super Bowl, because I'm not going to go into the whole breaking down Super Bowl yet. I have to go over a lot of MMA, go over what just happened and what's going to be happening. So I will go over the Super Bowl next week. There's a week off. There is no Super Bowl this next weekend. So I'm just breaking down the championship games. And I will say Matthew Stafford, I do believe, should be MVP. I know you don't count the postseason, but with the postseason, he has 52 touchdowns in 9 interceptions. 52-9. Drake Maye, if I am correct, it's 38-12. Both of them have 2 fumbles. I mean, like, the stats there are insane. Obviously, in the passing yards, go to Matthew Stafford. Rushing yards and the 4 rushing touchdowns. Actually, if you want to include the postseason, even though you don't, it's a regular season award. But just because I'm still going to, for the hell of it. Drake Maye did get a rushing touchdown, so he's at 5. I think he got 1 in both games, so he has 6. 6-0 when it comes to rushing touchdown. The rushing yards obviously dominated by Drake Maye, even running for the first down to win the game in the AFC Championship game. Incredible. Like, it's a good race. It really is. And like, if Drake Maye wins, I'm not upset. I really am not. If Matthew Stafford wins, great. I hope he does. I understand people are like, oh, they're going to give it to Matthew Stafford because he's 37. They're not going to give it to Matthew Stafford because he's 37. I want him to win because he's 37 years old, and I think his career being topped off with an MVP will make him a lock for the Hall of Fame. But he had one of the better statistical years we have seen in the last 10 years. I think, legitimately, I think Pat Mahomes had one passing statistical year better, and he still had more interceptions and fumbles, but he had more yards and touchdowns. But other than that, in the last 10 years, this is the second best year when it comes to a quarterback passing statistical year. That will be a fun, interesting race. Rams, maybe next year. You guys were very close. You were the best team for a lot of the year, and then Seattle they locked in. Sam Darnold, I think, in the regular season had, like, what was it? He had 20 turnovers in 16 games, and then since in game 17 and onwards, he has 0 turnovers, and I think he has 13 touchdowns. He is locked in. He is really locked in. I will say a stat for you guys. Sam Darnold is 0-4 against the New England Patriots. He did play all of them for the Jets, so he didn't exactly have this roster against a New England Patriots team. Just want to put that out there too. He didn't. And he is the first one of that draft class to be a starting quarterback to make it to the Super Bowl. His story is insane. The Jets traded him after having shit time, seeing ghosts. Panthers let him walk. The 49ers had him as a backup. The Vikings won 14 games, but then because he lost the last game of the season and then the postseason game, they weren't sold on him. And now he's one win away from being a Super Bowl champion. And he's been playing at an unbelievable level this whole run. The whole my first podcast, I remember talking about how he needs to step up. Man, has he done that? And people are going to think that's my favorite player or something. It's just, he's the talking point. I'm talking about what needs to be talked about. A lot of people, if you go to ESPN, for some reason, they'll still be talking about Dallas Cowboys somehow. They will. I don't know. They'll be talking about the Lakers. I don't know why. Neither of those teams are the best teams. I'm talking about what needs to be done for the guy to win a championship. In the Seattle Seahawks need Sam Darnold to basically be better than what he has in the past. And look at this. He's not just playing better. He's playing at MVP caliber level. He outdueled Matthew Stafford that had a flawless game. Like, what the fuck? What are you supposed to do there? So I'm very impressed by Matthew Stafford, yeah, but Sam Darnold. Unbelievable job. And can't wait to see what happens. And I will go over more with Super Bowl and break down where teams are better or worse at than what's going on. A little bit more NFL news. Kind of weird. Shedeur Sanders made the Pro Bowl. He has 7 touchdowns, 10 interceptions, 1,569 yards. 7 touchdowns to 10 interceptions. I understand people aren't opting in, and maybe everyone opted out. But someone like Trevor Lawrence isn't in and hasn't confirmed that he opted himself out. Trevor Lawrence was top 3 in MVP voting. He's made the final 3. Unless he said, I'm not doing it, I don't understand. I understand Drake Maye's in the Super Bowl, and Justin Herbert, I think, has already declined. Then I understand it's going to be a flag football event. But there is legitimately 8 to 10 quarterbacks minimum that have better stats that deserve it more than Shedeur. Deion Sanders went to the same high school I went to. So I'm a fan of Deion. I'm a fan of the family. I want Shedeur to do well. But I'm going to talk the sports. And the sports side of it is he wasn't a good quarterback. You'd be like, oh, his system. Okay, cool. Even with the system, he's not a Pro Bowler. This is strictly a thing to put more eyes on the station. It just is. The Pro Bowl will be on ESPN. Guess what? ESPN is about putting eyes on the TV show. I went on a massive rant last week. The podcast was broken up into a bunch of bits, so you either rant over 2 or 3 of the bits. This one will be one go because it'll be a shorter podcast, I think. But still, that shouldn't have happened. I don't think it should have happened whatsoever. That's my only thing with that. I'm going to now move on. That's it for NFL. Baseball, not much news. Yankees did sign Cody Bellinger. So now what's next? That's really the only news. They finally signed him. So Yankees basically have the same team as last year. Just we need our pitchers to be healthy and we should be, we'll see what happens. Still no bullpen. I will say the Mets have signed some players. They're making some moves. Juan Soto's kind of acting weird. Obviously, I don't really go into the drama side of the sport, but that one's kind of weird. He's posting stuff about him and Judge, like his stats and everything. It could be just because of the stats and the season was incredible, but still kind of weird why you're posting it. But I understand you just lost your big righty hitter, Pete Alonso. But the team looks good. Mets look good. So that's about it there. And now let's get into UFC 324. I'm going to recap a little bit of UFC 324, and then I'm going to go into 325 because it's this weekend. They had no fight night between them, nothing, just back-to-back, 324, 325. I will say Paramount was a big success. People said, oh, the ads. I agree with Dana White. Dana White said afterwards, you're paying $8 to $9 versus paying $80 to $90. It's like there's going to be more ads. They got to make their money. Honestly, I'll take that trade-off any day of the week. Like, legitimately, I have a remote. I can mute it. I didn't like that they were they were doing an ad during some of the walkouts, but when it came to the co-main and main event, okay, they showed the walkouts. I would like maybe less walkout ads, but ads in general, who cares? Like, legitimately, you have a controller, mute. Like, that's all you have to do. Not a big deal. So, I was cool with it. Paramount ended up, I think, on average, was averaging like 4 point something million views during the main card. Unbelievable. I thought it was well run. I didn't have any lag, nothing the whole time. Legitimately, the only time I had a little bit of an issue was when they went from the early prelims to the prelims. I had to switch because it was kind of stopped on one, but that was it. So there's no fight going. Like, I thought it was great. I'm not sponsored by Paramount Plus, but if they want to take it, sure, so we'll take it. But yeah, I'm all for the switch. But now let's go into the actual card. Early prelims, we unfortunately had, I will say, Michael Johnson versus Alexander Hernandez was pulled the night before, and the reason was because the betting odds started switching very heavily, very quickly. UFC decided to pull the fight. They didn't want to get that situation like they did in December where got all weird and then a fighter that was supposed to win pretty easily looks like shit and the FBI gets involved. So they pulled the fight. Ricky Turcios versus Cameron Smotherman got pulled. I was really looking forward to that fight, but Cameron Smotherman stood up on the stage after weighing in, walked about 5 steps, wasn't even near the stairs. He was like off to the right of the stairs and just collapsed face first. Cut his chin. Supposedly he's doing good now. Crazy timing by Michael Bisping because he was just saying that he doesn't feel bad for these guys cutting weight, and then bam, he falls immediately. And it's like, whoa, Michael Bisping, you look like a jackass. But that fight got canceled. Obviously, we know the co-main of Amanda Nunes versus Kayla Harrison got canceled. So it is what it is, but we still had some great fights. Ty Miller versus Adam Fugit. Ty Miller, first round KO with the second left on the clock. I think it was right call. He was beating the fuck out of him. Undefeated. Moving on. Beautiful performance. Hope he gets a little bit higher level of a fighter than that, but whatever. Josh Hockett versus Denzel Freeman. I understand Denzel Freeman was 7-1, so his record looks pretty, but he wasn't that good. But that's heavyweights. Josh Hockett can wrestle. He can throw. He has crazy cardio, and he can set a promo. People are like, oh, this isn't WWE. Guess what? You know who the fuck he is now. And guess what? The next time he gets on a mic, you're like, oh, it's this guy. And you're going to see him again and again, and they're going to push him further up the card because he's a good fighter that knows how to promote himself. It makes it easier for the UFC. Legitimately, he did incredible, that post-mic, and then taking a stab at Brittany Griner saying she's a man. That's whatever, uncalled for, but legitimately all his shit was uncalled for. Like, none of it was polite. Let's be honest. It's the fight game. Shit's going to be said. I don't know why she caught a stray, but either here or there, whatever. It was still funny. I loved it. I was remembering yelling at the TV saying, like, thank you for being interesting. The heavyweights have had this issue where they all just wait to be paired up. That's it. This guy fought well. He made a good call out. The guy, he's not going to get him his next fight, but he might get like a Tybura. I could see that. He could get somewhere around that area. He definitely needs a top 15 fight right away. He's just going to run through. I know he's only 8-0, so maybe make him face some cans. I don't know. But regardless, he's killing it. He had the incredible job. Incredible UFC debut. I know you're on the Dana White Contender Series, but I'm looking forward to you whenever you're on. That was it for the early prelims because we lost so many fights. Alex Perez versus Charles Johnson. Alex Perez knocks the fuck out of Charles Johnson. I think that was a good stoppage. Some people may or may not thought so, but Charles Johnson was blocking all Alex Perez's punches with his face. So Yeah, not a good performance by Charles Johnson by any means. Pretty bad, actually. Gonna move on from that one. There's not much more to say on that other than Charles Johnson did not look good at all. Alex Perez, good win. Don't know what exactly is next for you, but because you fought everyone already. But we'll see. Nikita Krylov beat Modestas Bukakas. Nikita Krylov looks slower than he did before he took his break. But he did look good. I had it going to be 30-27. He still got the finish anyway. Could they have just let the 3 seconds go? They could have. But you know what? I don't care. To be honest, I'm happy with it. It makes it better for him, and I hope he could maybe put another win or two together. But I'm not going to be betting on him if he's going against a high level guy that has any endurance in the light heavyweight division. He definitely looks out of his prime. The first non-finish of the card. This one got me. Atiba Gauthier versus Andre Polyev. I will say Andre did have a fucking chin on him because he got put down 3 times. 3 times he got knocked down. But Gauthier was very patient. He started getting tired. He wasn't blocking anything. He has a good chin on him. He did not block any leg kicks. Obviously, damage went in his favor. Significant strikes with power landed went in his favor. Significant strikes in total went towards Andre. No takedowns landed. But damage is the leading factor in rounds 1 and 2. And we're 100% was Gauthier. Round 3, I think Gauthier still hit him with something that shook him up more. But I think it was 30-27 to 29-28, if I'm correct. So I would have had it 30-27. I understand Andre was doing more, but damage is the first rule with judging. And the damage landed every single round, most was Gauthier. 100%. There's no doubt about it. This was a best case scenario for Gauthier. He got to learn that he has a lot of flaws. He's only 24 years old. 24 or 23. He's super young. So he has a lot of potential. He needs to keep fighting lower level guys, but I still think he will. The first time he loses will be in the top 10. He needs to figure out his blocking more and knowing when he does have someone hurt to go for the kill. But a lot of potential. He's 23, 24. You're telling me over 5 years he can't learn how to block better, do maybe mix in a grappling a little bit, ground and pound, or even just learn how to strike better in more volume and more cardio. He'll get up there. Trust me. He's not a finished product. He's 23 or 24 years old. Umar Nurmagomedov versus Deiveson Figueiredo. Boring ass fight. Not Umar's fault. Deiveson Figueiredo was running for his life in this fight. Deiveson is out of his prime. He looked like he was just there for the paycheck and didn't want to get finished. Unfortunately for Umar, that means he will not be fighting for the championship. There's no chance. None. Because first Sean O'Malley won. It doesn't matter if Sean O'Malley won by sitting on his ass. They were going to put him in front of Umar. 1 win streak versus 2 win streak. I understand. I don't agree with the 2. But Umar is a decision merchant. Sean O'Malley has insane pull. And he brings insane money. And this is a business. Umar is not getting the title anytime soon. Because even Sean O'Malley said he thinks Merab gets it next, and after that he'll go for it. And I think that's what will happen. I think we'll get Merab versus Peter Yan, probably by March, and whoever wins, they're going to try to fast forward them to try to fight on the White House card. That would be against Sean O'Malley. That would be my guess. But we'll see. We'll see. Umar and Khabib's already come out and said, because Khabib's more of a manager than Ali is to Umar. Khabib has already said that he wants him to fight more of the top 3 or 4 guys then. Let him fight Sean O'Malley. Let him fight someone else up there. Just so he can show that, hey, I have the resume of beating all these top guys, because the first championship might not have been earned, which I understand. And I think that's a good idea. Let him fight a third time. Let him stay active. He's young. I think Umar is like 28 years old, if I'm correct. So there's 30 years old. He's not super young, but still. 96, so he just turned 30. Okay, so still, like, let him fight again because he's going to be sitting on a shelf. It's that or sitting on a shelf. Legitimately, he would need Sean O'Malley or Marab or Peter Yan to get injured. That's what he'd need. So that's what's going on with that. Good win for Umar. Sorry that your opponent was running from me the whole time. All right, main card. Arnold Allen versus Gene Silva. Interesting fight. I think Gene Silva's stock, other than jumping off Arnold Allen's back in the third round, kind of dropped a little bit because it doesn't seem like the same Gene Silva as 2 fights ago against like Bryce Mitchell. Arnold Allen's a tough cookie. He really is. You're not going to finish Arnold Allen easily. I did have Gene Silva winning 29-28. I didn't have 30-27, but it was a good win by Gene Silva. He definitely needs to fight 1 or 2 more times before going for the belt. I would like him versus Aljamain Sterling. That's personally my opinion. I think that would be a good matchup for both because Aljamain brings really good grappling and he's a decent striker. And we'll have to see how Gene Silva does against some of the top of the guys in the division. He's not going to be just handed the belt shot. He's just not. Maybe Yair Rodriguez, but I think Yair beats the shit out of Gene Silva unless Gene Silva takes him down. But there's fights for him to have. All right, but Arnold Allen, I really don't know what's up. Like, he's a guy that's always going to be top 10, but is he really ever going to fight for the belt? So it's kind of like, he could, once again, he could fight someone middle of the pack. Like, he could go down a little bit, fight someone like bottom, like in the 15 to 10 area, maybe number 9 or 8, and then work himself back up. But 145 has a lot of competitors, and it's going to be tough to get to the belt for Arnold Allen. It really is. Definitely with the break he took. All right, next fight. Natalia Silva versus Rose Namajunas. I thought I had Rose winning 29-28. I need to rewatch it. But my original thought was 29-28. But all 3 judges gave it Natalia Silva. So I definitely missed something. But I definitely think that this hurt Natalia Silva's stock going into Valentina. Because Valentina's just going to hold her down like she's done her last 2 fights. So it's not going to make for as fun of a fight, in my opinion. I wish Rose won because I feel like that would have been a more fun fight at this point. Because the grappling of Rose, she's not going to get held down by Valentina. And the striking will be pretty good between the 2 of them. But Natalia Silva, if this was right after Alexa Grasso fight, I think the stock would have been high going into Valentina. But now after this Rose fight, the stock is not as high going into that. I think the next fight has to be for Natalia Silva has to be fighting Valentina because Amanda Nunes and Harrison didn't get the fight, so Valentina can't move up. So yeah, Natalia Silva, congratulations, you're going to earn your title shot. I don't think you beat Valentina whatsoever. Waldo Cortez Acosta wins by knockout, kind of Derek Lewis getting gassed and giving up. That's kind of how it goes. Derek Lewis has 16 knockouts, but he also has been KO'd, TKO'd 8 times. Tied for the most in UFC history, but he has the most UFC knockouts also. So, live by the sword, die by the sword. Waldo Cortez Acosta, not as fun as the interview as he's had recently. Puts on an eye patch again, still making fun of Tom Aspinall. I dig it. I liked his call out. He's not trying to call out Tom Aspinall for a title fight because there's a lot going on. I like the Curtis Blades one. I don't think Waldo Cortez Acosta beats like the top 3 guys. I don't think he beats Cyril Gane. Don't think he beats Volkov. Honestly, the one that called him out being Hockett. What is it? Hockett? Hockett, Josh Hockett. I don't know if he beats him. Josh Hockett, very well-rounded. I understand fought a can, so we'll see what happens. But although Cortez Acosta, I like to call out Curtis Blades. It's a tough matchup. It really is. Curtis Blades can strike, has knockouts on his record, can get knocked out, but he only gets knocked out by the best, hardest strikers. So we'll see. I'm looking forward to. I think that is the fight to make, and we'll see what happens. Co-main event: Sean O'Malley versus Song Yadong. Very good fight. I had a 29-28 Sean O'Malley. I don't know why people are saying that Song Yadong got robbed. I don't understand it at all. I think people are just doing that to troll and rage bait. I had a 29-28. There is no way around it. Round one, Song Yadong landed a takedown with 20 seconds left and did nothing with it. Sean O'Malley was piecing him up beforehand. And in the third round, Sean O'Malley demolished him. Just pieced him up badly. The second round, Song Yadong won. Didn't really do a lot of damage, but took him down, did a little ground and pound, nothing crazy. It was easily 29-28. I wanted Song Yadong to win. In a way, I thought Sean O'Malley was 1 foot out the door. Sean O'Malley, my opinion, should be fighting Umar next. I agree with Khabib's idea on that one. Sean O'Malley versus Umar. That's my opinion. Let Merab and Peter Yan fight. But Sean O'Malley has that really high star power, which means nothing's going to get done with him fighting anyone else other than a matchup that he wants. And he does not want Umar unless it's for a title. Trust me. Same thing with Merab. He didn't want Merab unless it was for a title. So Sean O'Malley is going to be fighting for the title next. He'll probably have to wait for Merab and Peter Yan to fight probably in March or April. But knowing Dana and stuff like that with the White House card, he might find a way to see if he can scrap Merab and make Sean O'Malley versus Peter Yan in there. I just feel like some weird shit's going to happen and they're going to pass over Merab. And it's like, I understand. Peter Yan beat up Merab over 5 rounds. But at the same point, you do have to look at the resume. Winning 4 consecutive championship fights, fighting as much as he did instead of taking a break. Let him take off 3-4 months and then fight again. Plus, it was the exact opposite the first fight. The first fight, Peter Yan got dominated. The second time, Merab got dominated. And guess what? They're 1-1, and Merab is not like he just came off a KO loss or anything. Give him a couple months off. Don't make him fight 3 months on the road where he's just going right into another camp. He gets to enjoy his holidays, enjoy January, and then February get into training, March, and then fight in early April or late March. I don't know when the card is. Because I know 326 is already put in, if I'm correct. And that would be March 7th, and that's Max Holloway versus Charles Oliveira. Maybe 327 get that going. The main event, Paddy Pimblett versus Justin Gaethje. Justin Gaethje has only been taken down by one person in UFC. And that's Khabib. I kind of forgot about that. And I'll give it to Justin. He's a fucking animal. 37. By the time he fights next, he'll be 38 years old. He beat the crap out of Paddy Pimblett. I had it 3 rounds to 2. Possibly round 2 could have been a 10-8. Honestly, possibly round 1 could have been a 10-8. So I had it 48-47, but I'm not upset with 49-46 or whatever, or even taking points away from Paddy, making 1 or 2 of those rounds a 10-8, because Justin landed way more damage. Once again, if you look at the significant strikes, they'll say Paddy landed more over 3 rounds, so he should win. Justin got 3 takedowns. Justin had 5 minutes of control time. Justin landed the power shots. Justin was advancing. It was Justin Gaethje 100% of the time. It was, yes, the scar card was either 49-46 or 48-47, but it wasn't that close. Justin Gaethje won this fight easily. There's no doubt about it. I picked Paddy on that. It happens. I missed out. I missed co-main and main. Actually, I missed Derek Lewis fight too. But yeah. Actually, I went 1 for fucking 4 on the main card. Wow. Prelims I did pretty good. Main card I shit to bed. But I did pick quite a few underdogs. So still, great. And I mean that main event though, it was very exciting. They purposely picked these two for an exciting fight. They really did. Arman would have crushed either one of these two. Ilya is going to crush Justin Gaethje. I'm sorry to ruin that for you guys, but that's what's going to happen. All right, UFC 325 is coming up this weekend. Let me get into it real quick. Let's get to early prelims. I don't know any of these fucking guys. All right, Oban Elliott. I know who he is. He's a decent fighter. Jonathan McCalliff. Don't really know you. This is probably your first fight in UFC. Let's take a look. I think he's off to Dana White Contender Series. Yeah, their early prelims are kind of what they always do in Australian cards. Australian cards, they kind of just throw people together that are like first timers a bunch, but not like off the Dana White Contender Series, like off of one of the other shows, the like lower level fighters. They do that a lot on Australia cards because people don't want to be taxed Australian dollars. Australia taxes like a motherfucker. Same thing with Canada. So a lot of American fighters will not go over to Australia. Just saying. So that's kind of the issue there. The same thing with the Brazilian. A lot of Brazilian fighters don't want to go over there either. They want to make as much money as possible. They like going to America because America taxes less than a lot of these other countries. And so the early prelims, but name value is pretty messed up. I'm just going to go to the prelims. Torrey Finney versus Jacob Malkoun. Torrey Finney, bud. Jacob Malkoun, please win. Please. Unfortunately, he's a DQ loss. Wow. That's insane. He's been in UFC a bit. He lost to Brendan Alledge. He lost to Cody Brundage. What the fuck did he do to get DQ'd? Holy shit. He got KO'd by Phil Hawes, but that was back in 2020. So this guy, legitimately, he's fought decent opponents. He's 8-3. He's been in UFC a while. He just beat Andre Petrosky, which is win, but it's a good win, I guess. He's a decent fighter. He KO'd him in round 2. Malkoun can stuff takedowns, but Finney is legitimately going to just try to shoot for takedowns and hold, and he's a very lay and pray. He's not very active. He does enough to just stay on top of you and win the fight that way, but he does no damage whatsoever. Torrey Finney, his first fight really bored us to death. In the second fight, he continued. So we're praying that this changes. We really are. I'm pulling for Jacob Malkoun just out of spite because Torrey Finney has been. People joke about the Dagestanians with lay and pray. No, the definition of lay and pray is what Torrey Finney has done in the UFC. That is it. If you want to go to sleep, watch a Torrey Finney fight. I'm just telling you right now. So let's go, Jacob Malkoun. Cam Rouston versus Cody Brundage. Decent fight. I think Cam Rouston. Cody Brundage is a good fighter. I know Cam Rouston's an up-and-comer kid. I think he's like 3 fights in the UFC, if I'm correct. But both 31 years old, so he's the same age. Cody definitely has fought higher-level fighters. Cam has a better record. But Cam is well-rounded. And so is Cody. Cody is well-rounded, but I like Cam striking better, at least of what I've seen. And I'm going to go with Cam Rouston. I am not looking at any odds for any of these fights. So if I'm picking massive underdogs by any chance, I'm just going off of that. I'm not going off of, I'm going off of what I'm seeing. I'm just looking up the fights and I'm telling you based off what I've watched of these fighters. I am not looking at money lines because I feel like that sways your opinion. So Junior Tafa versus Billy Elikana. I will not pick Junior Tafa for any fight. He's not good. He has no cardio. I'm happy he's at light heavyweight, but he still has no cardio. He has to get to KO in the first 2 minutes, or it's Billy Elikana. So Billy Elikana, you're winning this fight by however you want after 2 minutes. That's the prelims. My God. Wow, that's brutal. Did we lose any fights? Yeah, we lost Jimmy Crute versus Dustin Jacoby. That's a good fight. Damn, we missed it. We actually lost a good fight. So that kind of sucks. The main card. Do we have only 4 fights on the main card? 1, 2, 3. No, we have 5. Okay. Main card is definitely better than prelims. I will tell you 324 was way better than 325. Way better. But this is what happens with Australian cards because people aren't willing to go there because of the taxes. Just to let you know, because now I do talk sports, but I will tell you some things about the world to why certain cards suck and certain cards are good. Like we get good Saudi cards because the Saudi pays the UFC very good money, and they will throw UFC money to pay fighters more to make sure they have stacked cards over there. Just to let you know. Same thing with Australia. It's they just tax the fuck out of them, so no one wants to go there. Quillen. Oh wow, what a last name, boy. Quillen Salkild, 10-1. 26 years old, 6 foot, 155. Wow, big 155er versus Jamie Malarkey. Oh boy. They're basically trying to make you have a name off of Jamie Malarkey. Jamie Malarkey is not good. He's not. It's just can his chin withstand taking a beating? That's legit. Yes, he won a fight last year, but he's not good. But he has a name. He has a name. I'm definitely going Quillen. I don't really know much about you. Gonna look up what you've done recently. Oh, you're definitely Aussie boy. Holy shit. Big time Aussie boy. 3-0 in the UFC. Won a decision Dana White Contender Series and got in. Wow, they're just letting people in on decisions now. Dana White Contender Series. All right. KO, decision, KO. Oh, who did he KO? Nazarat? Wow, he knocked out Nazarat? Shit. All right, yeah. Oh, this is going to be a murder then. This is going to be a murder. If he knocked out Nazarat, he's going to murder Jamie Malarkey. No doubt about it. Oh, Quillen's probably massive favorite. There's no way he's under minus 800. Has to be like minus 800, right? If it's like minus 300, just bet the $300 fucking dollars to win 100. I'm just letting you know right now. Quillen should kill Jamie Malarkey. Tai Tuivasa versus Taliesin Teixeira. Taliesin Teixeira lost to Derek Lewis by knockout. He's 8-1. But other than that, he's been undefeated. He beat Tafa, which that's not saying much. Once again, I'm not in on Tafa. But Tai Tuivasa hasn't been good for a while. Has not been good for a while. Australia wants a shoey. I'm not going to give it to him. Taliesin Teixeira is winning this fight. All right, Rafael Fiziev versus Mauricio Rufy. Oof. I'm going Fiziev. This is a good striking fight. Fiziev is incredibly quick. Rufy's a good counter puncher. I think Fiziev might toss in a takedown attempt because we just saw Rufy's last fight where he cannot wrestle whatsoever. And his BJJ to get himself back up or submit is dog shit. So we're going Rafael Fiziev here. He's 13-4, and 2 of his losses have legitimately been to Justin Gaethje, which now has a title around to his waist. And his other loss was because his knee blew out. So, like, his 3 UFC losses have been legit losses. A knee blowing out and 2 losses to Justin Gaethje by decisions is not something to be sad about. Rufy, you legitimately have to keep it standing and keep the distance. But I think Rafael Fiziev will be in your face. He'll land damage. And you can slow down Fiziev by damage. But I don't think you could do Justin Gaethje damage. I'm going Fiziev in this one. I will go with the 3rd round finish. Dan Hooker versus Benoit Saint-Denis. Dan Hooker's being fed to the Wolves. Benoit Saint-Denis is going to get a 1st round finish, if not an early 2nd round finish by submission or ground and pound. Dan Hooker, he's just an okay fighter. He's a fun fighter to watch, but he's a fun fighter to fight bad fighters. Or just other stand-up fighters. Like Dan Hooker would be good against Rufy, in my opinion. I think that would be a fun fight. But I would not be I think Fiziev would destroy Hooker. Benoit Saint-Denis is basically just is going to kill him. 100%. That's a co-main event. That is not a good co-main event. It's name value-wise good co-main event, but Benoit Saint-Denis is going to destroy him. Alexander Volkanovski versus Diego Lopes 2. Volk is getting older. It took a while for him to look in fighting shape. I will say, for a while there, he was looking a little old manish, a little saggy. He wasn't as sharp looking, but is he going to be conditioned? Yes. Is he going to be fast? I do think that he can still be hurt. He still puts his chin up. Even against Diego Lopes, the last time they fought, he had his chin up. He did get it clipped. I think it's really based on Diego Lopez's coaching. Diego Lopes has said he was headhunting last time. If he doesn't headhunt, if he plays it smart, plays it safe, he tries to get takedowns himself and put the pressure on Volk using takedowns to punch him, kick him, whatever, I think he gets the finish over Volkanovski. The question is he going to be coached like that? I think he will. Diego Lopes is really good. We saw the difference. We see Gene Silva look good against everyone other than Diego Lopes. Diego Lopes, the Diego Lopes that beat Gene Silva would beat Volkanovski 100%. 100%. And this isn't prime Volk. People need to remember that. This isn't prime Volk. And on top of it, I will give you a stat that 4 of the last 5 main events in Australia with an Australian star have lost. Can Volkanovski win this, retire? And yes, I do believe he retires, win or lose after this fight. I think this is it. This is Volkanovski's last fight. But what they say, your favorite fighters will always go out on their back. And I think Volk, incredible career, fucking legend, top 10 greatest of all time in my opinion. Pound for pound, obviously. I don't think he beats Diego Lopes this time. I think Diego Lopes he already said what he did wrong. So he acknowledged it. So he needs to actually adjust on it, and I think he will. He showed how he could fight differently against Gene Silva. I think he does. I think he mixes in trying to get the takedown, and he gets a finish. And we're going to have Alexander Volkanovski retiring and losing the belt, and Diego Lopes now being the new champion. And that's a lot of fun matchups. A lot of fun matchups if it happens. If not, now Diego Lopes is out of the picture, and now everyone else is fighting for the belt, and Diego Lopes has to win like 3 in a row. But he might be the best or second best fighter in the division. So, and no one wants to fight Diego Lopes. They'll fight him when he has the belt, but they won't fight him if he doesn't. That is UFC 325. My main card picks: Diego Lopes, Benoit Saint-Denis, Rafael Fiziev, Taliesin Teixeira, and Quillan Salakid. I will definitely UFC 324. I will rate 7.5 out of 10, just because of all the cancellations of fights. I wish we could have got those. If not, the main event was like a 9 out of 10. UFC 325 on paper is like a 5 out of 10. Legitimately, if this was a pay-per-view, there'd be no chance I'd purchase it. No chance. I would legitimately pirate it, which I used to do anyway, but still. I'm going to watch it just because I have Paramount Plus. So that's what's going to happen. And that will wrap up UFC. And that will wrap up this episode of SPR Sports News Podcast. I hope you had a good time listening. I'll see you guys next week.